Hello, Facebook Live. Dave Noriega and Debbie Dujanovic. We just got off the air about 56 minutes ago, and we still felt like we had to dive into this topic a little deeper.
It was a hot show, Dave, for sure. The DMV stopping the registration postcards, the reminder cards that we all stopped getting in September. And as a result of that, 27% of Utah drivers forgot to register their vehicles because they didn't get the postcard.
1 in 4 people. If you're sitting at a stoplight right now and you look to your left, right, and forward, guaranteed somebody has let their registration lapse. And I can tell you, Deb, I was guilty even with the postcards. I was terrible. But at least I had the postcards to remind me. And now that you've taken the postcards away, I guarantee you I will probably spend a college tuition's worth of money in fines.
The reason we talked about this today on the Dave and Dujanovic show, which, by the way, we're on Monday through Thursday, 9 to 11 a.m., only on KSL News Radio, is because of this. It's the legislation that's proposed to bring back the postcards. The mailed postcards that you're getting, or you stopped getting in September. And as you said, Dave, it's caused, 1 in 4 drivers just completely spaced renewing their vehicles. And it's probably because the education campaign was pretty much non-existent. In fact, you and I missed apparently all the stories about this.
Yeah.
And during the show, one of our listeners texted us and said, well, it was on KSL.com. But we read a lot of news articles, so I'm surprised we missed it. But if we missed it, can you imagine all the other people who just didn't realize that they weren't getting a renewal reminder?
Yeah, you don't get a pass either. Just because you didn't know about it doesn't mean you get a pass. You still have to register your car. And Debbie, I can tell you, when it comes to registering the vehicle, it's not really about the money. It's about the hassle and the time it takes to go and get registered. That bothers me more than anything. The fact that I have to do this every single year drives me bananas.
I think we should ask our Facebook family here, what do you think? Should they bring back the program to reinstate the postcards, get those delivered to your homes via the U.S. mail, the Postal Service? So this legislation, it's House Bill 170. It's called Vehicle Registration Renewal Notices. You can check it out for yourself. These are all public record on the legislative website for the state of Utah. It would, if you decided, you have 2 options. It would mandate that the state start this postcard program again. It would also give you an option.
I love how you call it a postcard.
It is a postcard, isn't it not?
That's totally a postcard. I'm not sure that's the official name, but it's totally a postcard.
Postcard. I mean, it's not from Hawaii or the Cayman Islands.
Congratulations. Hope you had a great trip.
Money. So the option and this legislation says you can opt into an email reminder, or the state has to mail you that registration postcard reminder. So I'm curious from our Facebook family here if they think it's time for the state to just bring back that program to get those postcards in the mail to us. What do you think, Dave?
I'm torn because, it's up to us to do it, right? It's up to us to keep track of, what we need to do. I shouldn't need a reminder, but just because I shouldn't need a reminder doesn't mean I don't need a reminder. And so for that reason alone, just selfishly speaking, I think I need the reminder. And how much money were they saving? They got rid of it to save how much? It was like $500,000.
Cost of the program was about $500,000, $500,000, $500,000.
The state budget is $21.7 billion. I mean, 500,000. I'm sorry, that's a rounding error in the state budget.
So leave your comments. Our producer behind the scenes, Caitlin, will post those comments here so Dave and I can read through those and see how you feel. Do you think it's time that the state bring back the postcard program for your car registration renewal notification? A lot of folks also said during our show, when they text us on our text line, they said, hey, it's on your license plate. Can't you just look at it on your license?
Just look at it.
Walk up to your car. it says mine is March, for example. It says 3 and then the year, right? So can't we just remind ourselves? Put it on your phone, put it on a calendar. Save
Yeah.
$500,000 bucks.
Yeah. I get it. It shouldn't be this difficult, but don't tell me you have not been pulled over by a police officer because your registration is expired. Now, maybe you don't get a ticket, but you got pulled over. Have you been pulled over?
Not for that. I've been
Get out of here. Stop it. You have never.
Not for that.
You've never been. Have you ever been late?
Well, yeah. So one time, I'm really good about this actually. And Caitlin, will you put that comment back up on the screen? It just went. Dave, you're going to have to help me with the fine print there. And
Rusty Shackelford said, yes, I have been given a ticket for an expired registration. Me too. Congratulations, Rusty. We're part of the expired registration ticket club. I get pulled over all the time because I forget about it all the time.
What are you?
I've only been given a ticket once. I've been pulled over probably 10 times for expired registration.
Are you perpetually late on registering your cars? Are you chronic? I had a moment, it was several years ago. This car I owned for 12 years. I knew every October I had to register it again. And this was back when you had to do both safety and emissions. So I always had a little, money set aside to register. October came and went. November practically came and went. My husband and I were walking out we were at Snowbird for an event or a gathering. And we walk out and walk up to my car because I'd driven us up there. And for some reason, I look at the license plate and I realized the tags had long since expired. And it was like almost an out-of-body experience for me in that moment, Dave.
No.
I remember getting the registration card in the mail or the renewal notice in the mail. I didn't realize that October had come and gone and I'd failed to renew it on my own. And so the next day I was down at whatever the DMV and re-registering it. But I never got pulled over for that. And had they pulled me over for an officer, I probably would have argued with them about it because I didn't realize it was expired.
Yeah, they don't want your excuses.
So I think in this case, my opinion is those postcards are critical. First of all, tens of thousands of emails a year. It's really hard to kind of track that. I also think because you can get pulled over for it and because the state requires things like emissions, that they should make every effort, in this case, even if it is email and an additional postcard, to get a hold of us.
Okay, first of all, can we just accept the fact that annual registration of your car is a complete and total crock? And it is ridiculous that we have to do this every year. Can we at least agree on that? You and I don't agree on a lot, but is there any reason whatsoever that we should have to register a vehicle we've already purchased, that we've already paid for, that we've already paid the taxes and fines, all that? Is there any reason why we should have to renew this every single year? Debbie, the correct answer is no, of course not, Dave. It's ridiculous.
On the spot. Do we have another message, another post there?
All right. Lorena Heisey. In Idaho, you can renew for several years, and they send a reminder. I totally missed this year's because I don't think about it. It needs to come back. Idaho, I love you. Idaho, this idea of registering for many years, like I'd pay 5 years in advance just so I wouldn't have to think about it again. Still doesn't change the fact that it's a complete crime. Maddie Radcliffe says, I had signed up for emails, but they never sent one in 2020. Maddie, we've also heard that, can't you sign up for text messaging?
Too. Again, I get so many text messages. I wonder if I would remember. I think that having that little postcard on my counter is perfect.
Okay. You say you get a lot of text messages. How many unread text messages do you have right now on your phone? Go ahead and look at it.
Well, I have to minimize you for that because
Well, I'm sure you can tell me it's less than 10, right?
no, I went through every single one of my text messages this weekend and probably deleted about 600 or 700 of them.
Okay. But unread messages you have right now is what?
That are unread. Probably 2 unread.
Okay. How many unread email do you have?
Thousands.
How many thousands? Debbie, you just can't go by on this. I know how many you have.
39,000 emails.
39,000 emails. Are you crazy?
A lot of those are read though. I do read most of the emails that I get. But I just do feel like that postcard is and there's a lot of we're learning through the vaccine rollout is there's also a lot of people who don't have access to internet to sign up for vaccine immunizations for their doses. And these are typically, older Utahns. That's not the point of this discussion, but my point there is that let's not assume that everybody has access to technology.
Everybody has access to snail mail.
They do.
For sure.
Do you have any other comments?
Caitlin keeps bringing them up, and we just pass them. Shauna Holloway, yes, and at least you know how much to pay. Do they put that on there? Do they put how much you owe? I think you're right. You're right.
I just got one of these renewal postcards in the mail, but it's not what you think. It's just notifying me to go to the website. So actually, I'll be honest with you, Dave. I didn't bring this up on the show. I don't think. I haven't looked at the postcard carefully enough, but at first I thought, is this from the state or is this one of those scams to get you to call and, sign up for some car warranty or something like that. So I do think initially they put the amount on there. I don't know if they still do it.
More love to Idaho. Carl Lindstrom said, just moved to Idaho, and you can transfer an existing registration to a new car if it has not expired.
Oh.
Makes a lot of sense. Again, I still have not heard a good explanation from you or anybody else of why we should have to register every single year.
Yeah, I haven't thought of any reason why we shouldn't. We really have done a lot to extend the expiration date on driver licenses. I know in my home state of Arizona, I think some of my friends have a 10 or 20 year expiration date on their driver license. Here in Utah, I think we also extended it out, not quite that far.
5, maybe.
Good point. Can we do the same thing with our cars? Can we extend it out by 2 years?
And for any people that are saying, oh, but you want to make sure that, the car is safe. Well, guess what? We did away with safety inspections. Oh, but you got to make sure emissions are done. You still have to do emissions. And on top of doing the emissions, you still have to re-register your car. So it's a blatant money grab. I hate it. If you need money to pay for roads, then just call it, you got to pay for road money. But this registration every single year is insane. Paul Anderson says, without the reminder, I'm sure I will be registering late. Welcome to the club. Even with the reminder, many years I was registering late, up the fee by $1 and reinstate the reminders. You wouldn't even need $1. It would be like a penny.
The legislation says that if you choose the notification by mail, the division may charge the vehicle owner an additional fee to pay for postage. So not paying for a new employee's salary, it's you don't have to pay for that, but you have to pay an additional fee to pay for postage.
How much is a stamp right now?
55 cents. I looked that up today because I wasn't quite sure. Here's what the Salt Lake Tribune reported on this issue. I thought this was very, very insightful. A year before the pandemic started, 6% of vehicle registrations failed to renew. During the pandemic, 10% failed to renew. And I'm gonna say that extra 4% went, from before the pandemic to during the pandemic. That 4%, I'm gonna say a lot of that probably had to do with the job losses initially and the pandemic and people feeling the pinch, and so they were willing to, and they weren't driving as much. Mm-hmm. So thinking, well, I'm gonna roll the dice. I'm not gonna be out as much. Maybe I won't get caught because I'm not on I-15 every day. Now, since they stopped sending out these registration reminders, which happened in September, the postcard stopped showing up in your mailbox. That number of registration fails went up to 27%.
So from 10% to 27.
Yeah, and just since the pandemic started. And but when you look at when the September date, when they stopped sending those postcards, then it went up to 27%.
Proof is in the pudding.
That's right. Well, we've had a great conversation here. I'm looking forward to tomorrow's show. Dave and I and our producer Caitlin and producer Andrew are already working on great content for the Dave and Dujanovic show tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to it, Dave.
Thanks. We're going to talk about whether it is legal to cut hair without a license. We're talking about that, right? I love that story. I hope so. Anyway, thanks for joining us. We'll see you guys next time. See ya.
See ya.